Welcome back once again to Spurs Speak with Kesh. Today we're going to be talking about all things Roberto De Zerbi as he looks to take control of his first match as Tottenham Hotspur head coach. And I'm going to talk about what I expect De Zerbi to bring forward on Sunday against Sunderland and hopefully get us a win that could save our season. To start off with, before even talking about Tottenham and getting to where we are, we do need to start with Roberto De Zerbi's history, especially from a tactical standpoint, because that's going to influence who he starts, and how he sets us up against Sunderland. A couple notes on De Zerbi. I think he's actually a perfect blend of you're tactically flexible while also having an ideology. Now, we know the man, we know the issues with him. You can watch my previous video on the pros and cons of Roberto De Zerbi to see my thoughts on him. But from a pure tactical standpoint, from a pure footballing standpoint, we look at him and we say he's someone who historically has kept a very similar system. He's kept to that attacking style of play while also making the right changes depending on personnel. And I think it's oddly enough, actually a perfect middle ground between what we had in Ange Postecoglou last season and what we've had this season with Thomas Frank. It's an identity, it's a man that we can believe and a man we can respect. The reason we say that, we look at De Zerbi's teams at Marseille. Now, over the course of his time at Marseille, he did switch between both a 3-back system and a 4-back system, predominantly preferring that 4-2-3-1 system with a double pivot, but occasionally switching to those 3 at the back, according to the personnel he had. But one thing that's always been there was the double pivot, which we know De Zerbi for. He'd often have Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, of course a former Tottenham player himself, alongside either Quentin Timber or Jeffrey Kondogbia. Occasionally you'd see Arthur Vermeer and the young 20-year-old coming into that pivot spot when it was a 3 at the back. When it was that 4 at the back, though, it was very much quite a defensive double pivot with a Jeffrey Kondogbia and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg type pairing, with a Angel Gomez playing in the 10 until, of course, he moved on in January. Away from that double pivot, we look at those attackers. De Zerbi does quite often prefer a sole striker. Oddly enough, when he did play a 3 at the back system, it was almost Ruben Amorim-esque. It was one wingback who was quite attacking, going up forward, really supporting in that attack, and one wingback who was quite defensive, being able to slot into almost the back 4 when out of possession if need be, with that double pivot in the front 3 of 2 10s and a striker essentially. And that really was De Zerbi's preferred system when he ran that 3 at the back. When he was running that 4 at the back, again, it was that 4-2-3-1, but similarly ran one with one attacking fullback, one quite defensive fullback, where the attacking fullback would really be going up. And this is similar to what we saw at Brighton for Roberto De Zerbi as well. At Brighton, of course, across the time there, he had some fantastic players who he really brought the best out of, right? You look at your Caicedo and Pascal Gross, who ran a very successful double pivot. Alexis McAllister was often used as well. And you really look at those midfield players as very, very key to De Zerbi's system. I do think we lack players in that strong double pivot position in terms of defensive, but if you look at those players that are similar to McAllister, De Zerbi has a lot of players to choose from. It's really that more defensive, physical 6 where we may struggle. At Brighton as well, similar system in terms of those fullbacks. Again, one quite attacking fullback in purpose is Stupinian, and then that right back position would really vary between your Joel Veltman, sometimes even going to a Pascal Gross dropping into that position depending on availability again, which it shows that identity, right? He knows where a position should play and he wants that player, whoever fills in, to fill that. And I think that's the right attitude to be coming into. Mostly ran a sole striker system with João Pedro up top in his second season at Brighton. We did occasionally see that switch to a 4-4-2. We saw Julio Enciso go into the position occasionally in his first season there as well. Of course, Evan Ferguson as well. I think that's where De Zerbi may struggle, is the quality of our strikers at the moment. It's quite limited, but we'll see where we get to with the team. Now, moving into Tottenham Hotspur and what we can expect on Sunday from De Zerbi against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light. I will expect De Zerbi entirely to be running a 4-2-3-1 here. I would be very surprised if we go for a 3 at the back. I don't think we should. We don't have the players available, nor the players signed. If we look towards next season, potentially with Vuskovic coming back on loan. So I'm looking at that as a 4-2-3-1 formation. Vicario, I don't think there's a question there. As poor as he's been all season, he's also the lesser of two evils. I don't see Anthony Kinski getting a start under De Zerbi this season, not in the position we're in. We're not in a position to be able to coddle him to perform well. And we can't have Kinski starting this season, to be honest, let alone De Zerbi's first game. When we look at that back four, and we know that De Zerbi loves one attacking fullback, one defensive fullback, playing Destiny or Doggy on the left and Jed Spence on the right. So essentially taking Pedro Porro out of the team. I do think Porro adds some intangibles to the team, which I don't necessarily want to see go. I think he actually puts a lot of heart into saving us this season, and you've seen that even if his performance haven't been there, you really see that passion come through. I think Spence will be so key for us this season, given that's what De Zerbi would be looking for. If we look at the pair of centre-backs, I don't think there's a question. It's got to be Mickey van der Ven and Christian Romero. Centre-backs have varied under De Zerbi. I think Jan Paul van Hecker has had a great time. You look at Ben Dunk, Adam Webster. That's the players that we saw at Brighton under him. And they're not the strongest on the ball, which is where I think it's quite different to what we have at Tottenham, is our centre-backs are quite strong on the ball. And moving into midfield, I mentioned earlier, the double pivot is the most important part of De Zerbi's system. It is key to him. He wants to see his players really, one player be very physical, be able to sit back, really support that defence, and then one player really be able to play a double pivot and turn your man, go play it forward towards that attacking midfield three. And the reason for that is because he uses his defensive midfielders to unlock that front three, unlock his attacking players to create for that striker because he's got a sole striker. So in that case, I am going with Palhinha and Lucas Bergvall. Now, the reason for this, Bergvall's of course just come back fit, played for Sweden in the World Cup qualifiers as well, got them through. You look at Palhinha. Palhinha's got that defensive stability. He's got that physicality to step in. I don't actually think many other players in our squad would be able to fit that Palhinha role. You're looking at, that's the role that Caicedo played. That's the role that Højbjerg played. That's the role that Baleba played under De Zerbi. And I don't see anyone else other than Palhinha really playing that role at Tottenham Hotspur, to be honest, at the moment. In the other DM position, I've gone for Lucas Bergvall. As I mentioned, that's really that Alexis McAllister place that we're looking to fill there. We're looking to fill that Arthur Vermeeren position where you can turn your man and really unlock the three players that are in front of you, whoever it is, right? When it's a three at the back, you've just got your two attacking mids and your striker, potentially your wing back going forward. In the 4-2-3-1 system that I'm suggesting, you're looking at that attacking mid and both wingers to be unlocked, as well as potentially a fullback being added. That striker's there to press, that striker's there to be in the right position, not to be doing any creation themselves. So that's where we've gone Lucas Bergvall. Now, this role, you could potentially say Pape Sarr could play. You could also see Conor Gallagher playing in this role. I do think Lucas Bergvall's the best fit for it, depending on his own fitness. But I think with that World Cup qualification, he got a fair few minutes in there. He's up to scratch. The only player I could potentially see swapping Palhinha's position, though, is maybe Archie Graham. That's on form because he has been fantastic, but he really needs to build some more physicality about him before he can really fit into De Zerbi's system in that position. Moving forward towards that attacking midfield three, it's where De Zerbi has seen some really successful players. You're looking at, Karim Mitoma, Adingra came through under him. I'm not going to discuss he who shall not be named, who obviously was playing quite well for him at Marseille. That attacking midfield three is very key to De Zerbi's system. It's where all his creation comes from, with the added wing back or full back coming forward. So in this, I actually think we have players who are really well suited to De Zerbi's creation. Mohamed Kudus, Xavi Simons, and Mathys Tel. Now, Tel is probably out of the three the weakest for me. I think you definitely have arguments. If Ødegaard was fit, I probably would have played Ødegaard there. But for the moment, I think we can go with Mathys Tel. And he can really be that runner. He can get in behind, especially if we're playing with Doggy as the left back. He can really come in, bring a bit more of a narrow attack while the Doggy goes out wide and does that curling overlap. And that I'd love to see, almost as if he's a Stupinian. And that's where I actually say Doggy should be playing on the left back, because that unlocks a player like Mathys Tel to really do well and almost play like Karim Mitoma. I know he's not got the technical ability of Mitoma, but he's got the run in behind skills. He's got the talent to really get there. He needs to hone his skills. The other two players, though, I think are so well suited to a De Zerbi system. Mohamed Kudus, the way he plays with the ball close to his feet, absolutely can be unlocked here, can be a fantastic player under De Zerbi, and I think he's locked in that right wing position. I don't think we can even consider anyone else. And Xavi Simons, I'm really hoping here, Xavi, because you have if you don't succeed in a 4-2-3-1 as a 10, I don't think we can excuse it any longer or give you any benefit of the doubt, because that is your best possible position and there is no chance you should be doing anything other than delivering consistently in this role. Xavi, I've given him a lot of benefit of the doubt this season because Thomas Frank misused him as a left winger. He's been left in quite tight positions. He's playing with the front two constantly, and I think that's actually made it quite difficult. Front two who haven't been offering much. I think a 4-2-3-1 with Xavi as the 10 is the perfect system for him. So if there's no results here, then we always have to look at getting rid of him because he's not the quality that we need. We do have to look at that 10 as a player who loves to play in tight spaces, which Xavi Simons does, who loves to create the balls, right? He's the only player who's played any through balls for us this season, it feels like. At times he's made the wrong decision on that, but he's the only player who does try to play those balls in behind. And I think that's where Angel Gomez, for example, performed really well in that role. He kept the ball tight to him, and up top in front of him, I've given this man a lot of criticism this season, rightfully so. I do think De Zerbi will prefer him. I probably wouldn't start him. I'd be going for a Dom Solanke, to be honest. But for the role that's required, I think Randall Kolo-Muani will be the one that's starting. He can run in behind a lot better than Solanke. Although Solanke's pace has been a lot better this season, it's really about position. And I think at the moment, I'd have to say that Kolo-Muani offers more in terms of that positioning and that attacking awareness than Solanke. You could even argue Richarlison, if he's fit again, he's going to be starting against Sunderland, but I don't think he'll be fit by Sunderland. So we are looking at Kolo-Muani up top at the moment. I do hope that Solanke comes into that role. I believe he is a better player. So looking at this lineup, I actually think it's quite a strong lineup, right? We've now got players back. We've got players coming back fit. Kudus is reported to be fit. I don't know if he's actually going to be fit enough to start on Sunday or if it's going to be a case of him coming off the bench and we have to play a Kolo-Muani off the right or whatever it is. But I think this lineup, if we look at it, that's a lineup that should always be beating Sunderland, even with the form that they've had this season. I think our strong points is definitely in the fullbacks that we have. I think Jed Spence can offer a lot of utility here. Destiny Udogie could be really unlocked as a wide wing back. I see Palhinha. This position is made for Palhinha's strengths. If he doesn't succeed here, we need to bid him off in the summer. We cannot be making that option permanent if he doesn't succeed for the rest of this season. Lucas Bergvall, another similar position. I think he could absolutely have a fantastic end of the season if he's able to play that 8 role and really take that forward. And ultimately, the player that I mentioned the most, Xavi Simons, this is your chance to show us. This is your chance to really go in and make a difference and save us this season, because we need someone like that to take ownership. But that's how I'm saying Roberto De Zerbi sets up against Sunderland and for the rest of this season where available. Of course, personnel availabilities will change that. We could see a completely different system going into the new season, especially if Luka Vuskovic stays and if De Zerbi actually keeps us up. We're hoping for a big win here. We really need it. A win here could kick off our season and take us to at least... I don't want relegation to even be a conversation come the last 2 to 3 games of the season. And I think that's possible if we can get a really strong win here. And I believe in De Zerbi to do so. So it's been great talking to you again. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment who you think should be starting. Will De Zerbi even run this system? Will he run another one? What do you think? Will we see that 3-4-2-1 that he ran at Marseille? Will we see a 4-4-2 that he occasionally ran at Brighton? I don't know. You let me know. Comment below. Make sure to subscribe. It's right there. There's a little bell next to it. Bells are nice. Just click the bell as well. Get a little notification when you need to. But it's been great talking to you, and I will see you next time.